Welcome to Founders Future, the podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Amar Elm, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by Shilvi Leinwand, founder and president of Satya Advisors, a boutique advisory firm specializing in bridging the gap between strategy and execution for corporate functions and enabling organizations to scale effectively with clarity and momentum. Shilvi, welcome to Founders Future.
Thanks, Amar. I'm really happy to be here.
I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah,
I
let's do
would like
it.
to start from the beginning. So take me back to before you started Satya Advisors. What were you doing beforehand? And then what really motivated you to start the company?
Yeah, absolutely. So I spent about 23, 24 years in corporate. I've had a variety of roles. I'd say I split the first third of my career in consulting. So I worked with Deloitte Consulting, and then I flipped over to the client side and worked in different industries, including Coca-Cola Company, Intercontinental Hotel Group, and Change Healthcare, which was then acquired by Optum and United Healthcare. And I loved what I did. I have a very curious personality. I love problem solving, look at things in a certain way that they're not necessarily limited to a specific industry or function. So I think spending time in consulting and then just on that client side really let me go and really learn and just see different types of working, be part of a lot of emerging technologies and how that was going to change the way we work. And then it was around the time Change Healthcare was acquired by United Healthcare that I had an opportunity to stay on or to do something different. And that was when I came to that conclusion that my love of transformation and my love of what I do in terms of solving problems can sometimes be done a little more effectively from the outside than on the inside. I held leadership positions at a lot of these companies where I did have initiatives that were to transform certain parts of the business. And I loved it and it was great, but it was a different type of role because you're playing more of a liner. You're trying to make sure that you're getting a sense of what's being asked, who you're going to be working with, who your peers are, stakeholders, all of the politics that tend to come with those types of scenarios. And for me, I felt like in order to really affect the maximum change and just bring really different ways of working and thinking and ideas to the table would be to do my own thing, which is what had me start Satya Advisors. And Satya actually means it means truth in Sanskrit. So a little bit of a throwback to my heritage. I'm originally from India. And as a consultant and then being on the client side dealing with consultants, I really walked away from that experience with a lot of different thoughts and perceptions of just how that model works. And so I wanted to build an advisory, a consulting service that would be truly transparent. So the conversations that are happening, it's really truthful in the sense of you're telling your client what they need to hear, even if it's not always what they want to hear. And then also just making sure that I was providing the clients the ability to do their job effectively. I had a lot of consultants I worked with that were very talented when I was on the client side, and they tend to work from the same playbook. A lot of times their ideas can seem a little theoretical, not really put into practice because every org is so different. Every person is so different. And so for me, it was really important to build something that really focused on truth telling, but also was realistic in the sense of all of our advisors are people that have played a role in one point in their career in consulting and sitting on the client side. So we bring that sort of full perspective when we're talking to them.
Yeah, I love that. I'm super curious with that transition. Was that difficult to make? Because obviously you're in a cushy career, so to speak. You're doing well, you have experience, and you're stepping into the unknown. What was that like?
Yeah, it's a great question. And like I said, I'm a truth teller. So it was terrifying. It was one of those where, yep, I could just do what I've been doing all these years. And maybe it would have a different boss or a different initiative I'm leading to or a different board expectations. But again, there was something about the timing, especially with the way that my last company was acquired. I spent 5 years there in a leadership capacity, reporting directly to the CMO. And I saw what it takes to really build something out. When I joined Change Healthcare, they were just going through a massive acquisition of McKesson's technology business, private equity backed. Then they went public and then we got bought. So I went through this full gamut of seeing how things work. And so I just did not think I could find a role that would be that similar in sense of like really being empowered and able to just do what I love best. And so from that perspective at that time, I thought, I've always wanted to do this. I've always loved just interacting with different types of people. I'm not afraid to work hard, even though at this level, I still don't mind building the PowerPoint or the spreadsheet. There are certain elements of really getting deep into what is happening. And again, you don't really get that opportunity when you're a leader within a corporation. And just I think we're in a unique time where I find that a lot of people who have my background are choosing to maybe go and do something specialized or individual. I don't know if it's the gig economy or the gig worker concept or the hustle concept that's taken over corporate, but there's a lot of folks out there. And I felt, you know what, I've got a good idea. I genuinely care about my coworkers from the past and just staying in touch with them. I saw that there's an opening for something like this.
Yeah, I like that. And sometimes when you see that, it overpowers the fear of doing something new and something that's risky in a sense. But
Yeah.
let's dive into Satya Advisors today and what that looks like. Walk me through who would you say is your ideal customer? And then from there, we can get into the different offers and services you provide.
Yeah, absolutely. My ideal customer is someone who has the clout and influence to lead a transformative effort in an organization and has the budget and desire to see it through. And I say it like that because typically those folks sit in the C-suite or it's their direct reports. Because when you're seeing something as big as transformative change, doing it at the mid-level or someone's got an idea, it's not to dismiss that isn't wonderful. However, I know that when it takes time to actually come together, ideas are great. And a lot of these companies I work with, even I dealt with this, is you're going to always have our classic big consulting companies, the big management consulting, strategy consulting. They're always going to be part of this picture, and they're going to work with all of those folks at the top to define a strategy. And then many times those strategy ideas live in a PowerPoint document and they go. And so in those scenarios, it's the person who purchased their services, which tends to be maybe a VP level, maybe someone more in the middle. But when it comes down to, okay, how do we actually get this work and get it moving? You have to get approvals from different
Mm,
leaders. So for me, it's really the C-suite and their direct reports, the budget owners essentially. And like
yep,
I said, the ones who have the clout to get the right people in the room.
got it. The ones that can actually take action and make the decision happen.
Yep, exactly. They just may not have the resources or capacity to do that.
What are your core offers and services? What does that look like?
Yeah, it's hard because I'm like your general management consultant by trade. I love project management and change management and things like that. So when I was trying to think about what sets us apart, it really is being that advisor that partners with our client to help them with that strategy activation. And we actually have a proprietary methodology, if you will, called Strativate, which is essentially strategic activation. Reason we went down this path in leveraging it is if you think about it, over the last 20 plus years, at least while I've been in my professional career, we've seen so much advancement in technology and science. However, I haven't seen the same result on the process and people side. And so, from that perspective, there's a lot of great ways to solution and change the way things are working. However, two parts of that triangle, if you will, aren't necessarily evolved. People are people. They're going to always have their own concerns, their own thoughts. And so Strativate is really focused on getting the right people in the room to have certain conversations and breaking it down. So having really 30-day just iterative cycles. So a little bit borrowed from agile and lean, but ultimately think back to that concept of there's a 200 slide deck that has maybe 50 different ideas. They've already done the analysis of which one's going to give them the biggest bang for their buck. And then you get in a room and how do you get people to agree which ones matter? So that is something that we do from a program management standpoint. So we provide services that are essentially advisory type of roles, and they can come in various capacities. They can come from, we've played chiefs of staff type of roles where we've sat there,
Mm.
really helped the leader maneuver just how to get things done. We played program leadership roles for large initiatives that might involve significant number of teams and also tech change, process change, all of it. We have also provide back office services in the sense of a PMO as a service. So PMOs have been around for a long time, and most people know what a program management office is, especially in the IT side. We don't see it as often on the non-IT side. And what's happening is a lot of these functions are moving to more of a shared service type of style. So an example is marketing, for instance. Long gone are the days where there was a leader who had a brand and they had every resource type under them to plan and execute different campaigns. Now it's all done through a shared services model. However, you need somebody in the middle to help with that project management and the resource management and all of that good stuff. And marketers, marketing organizations that hire in-house PMs, data shows that there is about a 2-year run rate for them before they're like, okay, what's next for me? As technology in that space is changing all the time too. So there's a lot of training costs. So the PMO as a service concept that we offer is to help work in sort of a hybrid capacity. We wouldn't necessarily come in and do everything, but we'd be working in a hybrid capacity where we're pretty much helping them build out if there's a tech change, sometimes going from one project management system to another, and or to just day-to-day operations and execution around capacity planning, workload management, issue and risk escalation. And the nice thing is for our clients, there's about a 30% savings because again, you look back to the costs of having a fully loaded FTE playing that role, the cost of onboarding them, and then the cost of offboarding them, as well as
Mm.
additional training. So you have a turnkey team, and
Yeah,
it allows them to just be able to work a lot more effectively.
cool. Thank you for breaking that down. It gives us a clearer view of what it looks like today. Now, I have a lot of coaches and consultants that listen to this.
Yeah.
When it comes to client acquisition, so lead generation, marketing, what do you do to bring on to just generate new business, essentially?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there is so much out there that for I've been in business now 2 years. And so year one was very much focused on my contacts and my relationships and just really sharing with them. They knew who I was, they know the work I do. And now obviously we've graduated to, okay, who else is out there? And so in terms of lead gen, it's still a very personal approach in the sense that still working through context of contacts. All the business we have is through referral, like client referral. So we have not gone down the path of just like having the spammy emails that may come out or that may feel a little impersonal. So it's a lot of strategic understanding of our buyer, which also helps because there's not as many of them out there, and really understanding what, they're looking for and then figuring out the right relationship. I'm proud to say that I've worked with so many amazing people. If I look at my LinkedIn, somebody knows somebody in that company, most likely.
Yeah.
And so working through it that way and then leveraging a lot more tools around it. And so obviously we live in an era of AI. So a lot of stuff that used to take a while to research and learn the market or your client or what their needs might be, definitely leveraging AI to help us understand who's buying and what they're buying. Because again, there's plenty of management consulting companies out there and they all have the same philosophy of relationships. But what we like to do is, even before we come to them, is bring them a sense of, hey, we understand what you need and we understand this is what has worked and hasn't worked. Just again, by understanding the business a little bit more deeper.
Yeah, I like that. It's always a challenge for consultants and coaches, the lead gen, the client acquisition side. So it sounds like a lot of it is leveraging your network, leveraging contacts of contacts, and really building those personal relationships to plant seeds that will bear fruit in the future.
Definitely. And then also building out a strong partner network. One thing these big four and big management consulting companies offer is it's one way to just get everything you need done in one contract. And as a smaller company, we specialize in what we do, but let's say what happens if one of our clients' outcomes is they need a new digital asset management system, or they come to this realization that they have all these other transformative things that might require tech solutions. We have a very strong and vetted partner network of other independent or smaller businesses that we can work together. And the reality is many of us have at one point in our career to bring in like point solutions. And so that helps as well, because I think we are able to let each other know also, hey, this is happening, but we know a transformation, it's never just an exercise of prioritization or a project plan. There tends to be other pieces. And then lastly is also just thought leadership. I've always enjoyed mentoring and just sharing and being able to get out there. And so making sure that we have the ability to have more thought leadership. So as part of my year two, or I guess now year three start, is just having more data. Like we have a lot of data and putting it together in a way where a C-suite member will go, got it. It's not your typical white paper. It's like, how do you get their attention? And so all of those things will hopefully help us continue to grow.
Yeah, I like that. What advice would you, if you could go back in time, what advice would you give yourself when you were first starting off? Just maybe something that you didn't know at the time, but you now know based off of 2 years in business.
Yeah. I think because I am a generalist and tend to not be afraid of trying new things, I try to do it all on my own. So, setting up a business, there's a lot of your own financial and legal and marketing and all of those things. And I tried to be all of that. And clearly, it's hard to do that and deliver work and grow. And so, leveraging being okay with allowing others to support me in that capacity, finding people who are good, who have a very similar business ethic as I do and outlook, and letting go of those things, because
Mm,
then it allows me to be more creative. And I know sometimes there's a run rate. It takes a little while before you feel good, like you need
yeah.
to get there. But I'd say it's easier to go there even before you've built your empire, just because there's so many different solutions and people out there, again, who are doing their own independent style of that kind of work. So my thought would be just don't wait for it to be perfect. Make sure that you have someone by your side that understands that. And then that frees up your ability to do more of the business development, the client delivery, that sort of thing.
Yeah. What is the best way for people to reach out to you to work with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Website is satyaadvisors.com. You can also look me up and connect with me in LinkedIn. We also have a Satya Advisors page on LinkedIn. I offer this to everyone, 30 minutes, coffee, nothing holding them to have any sort of like thing that requires me to work with them compensation wise. I love talking and just meeting with people. And I think a lot of times when I catch my clients, they're in a place mentally where they're like, I don't know how to get started. I just
Mm,
need a sense of how to frame something. And so, from that perspective, thrilled to speak with others who are trying to figure things out. And our website in the next couple of weeks will have more of that thought leadership work that I was discussing earlier.
awesome. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Yeah, anytime.
All
So
right.
that wraps up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go to Satya, that's Satya, advisors.com. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with our team and discover how we went from zero to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on climbing.